Hey gang, Nighttiger's having a contest. He wants us to use a character from the Golden Age or Silver Age, one that hasn't been used in years, and come up with their last story. I have chosen Ghost Woman because I thought it would be easy to do a character who appeared once in an 8-page story, but it's actually much more difficult than I thought. So the story starts with a woman racing to her husband to tell him that his daughter is still alive. It's his daughter, not her daughter, but it's her husband. So I don't really know. And it's supposed to be a baby, so I don't really know what's going on there. She crashes her car, she tries to get another ride, can't get a ride, the car goes right through her. She wishes she could be with her husband and instantly teleports, or so it seems, to her husband in his home. It's not really instant though, because there's a loss of time. It's after she's been buried. So he mourns his dead wife and his dead daughter, but of course she's trying to say, your daughter's not dead, and she realizes that he can't hear her. She looks in the mirror, she can't see herself, she realizes that she is a ghost. He goes for a walk and sees a groundskeeper or whatever, and the groundskeeper sees a woman walking with him and mentions it and then realizes his mistake. He's seeing a ghost because he's a werewolf and can see ghosts. Luckily, the full moon comes out just then and he turns into a werewolf. He attacks the guy. Ghost Woman fights him off because Ghost Woman can actually interact with magical beings. So Ghost Woman bitch slaps this werewolf, and he says that if I find your dead body, I will cross it and you'll be one of my pack, which I guess means that werewolves can turn the dead into werewolves. The husband wonks the werewolf, and he turns back into the guy, and he realizes, oh, it's a werewolf, so he skedaddles back to his home. Ghost Woman tries to get an old gun off the mantle as the werewolves gather. She drops a silver fork in front of the guy, and he loads that into the gun. He then shoots the lead werewolf. In dialogue, he says that the other werewolves are running away. Ghost Woman, her last line is, I have not died in vain. He will live and fight. Now I can rest. Despite the fact that she actually died to tell him that his daughter was still alive, and he still doesn't know that. Not the best story, but neither is mine. So the story starts off with the werewolves having run away from the gun-toting, fork-shooting werewolf hunter. And they're like, what the F was that, a fork? But they now have no leader, so one chooses to be the leader. And don't you worry, this is the new age of the early 40s. We can do more to ruin this werewolf hunter's life than just eat him. But will we get to eat him? We'll get to eat him, but we will ruin his life. And here's how we start. And we cut back to the house where they're moving the body of the groundskeeper that they murdered with a fork, who was a werewolf, and the cops knock on the door. Oh, we got a call that you're moving a body, and here you are, moving a body. And so they arrest the husband. Meanwhile, Ghost Woman has thought that she said her goodbyes, but then realizes, oh, right, I should also tell him that his daughter's still alive, but then she sees that he's being arrested and taken away. She goes up to the roof to see what's doing, but then she spots the groundskeeper that was just murdered. And she's like, what? So she goes down, sees that it's the ghost of the groundskeeper. And so he basically explains that when he was bitten by the werewolf, he could feel his soul being pushed out of his body, being replaced by this malicious energy that is the werewolf. And so she remembers back to when the werewolf said, if I cross your grave, you will be a werewolf. But he's not talking about the ghost, he's talking about the body. And she thinks, oh, I wish I could see my grave to make sure it hasn't been tampered with. And she teleports to the grave. But there's another time loss. There's been at least a week of time loss, and they've already disturbed the grave, and she actually goes down into the grave to find that her body is still there, but her head isn't. It's a headless body. And so she sort of lies in the grave trying to think, well, they would need another body because mine was damaged in the accident. Did they staple my head to another body? And is that doppelganger impersonating me right now? Hard cut to her reanimated body in a turtleneck in a car driving with the husband. She's got him out on bail. Oh, darling, you must stop talking about these werewolves. Am I not real, or do you think I'm a ghost? I thought you were dead. I remember your funeral. No, I'm alive. Your daughter's alive. The only one who's dead is the guy you murdered. So I think that we should get the baby from the orphanage, go up north, and have a nice, relaxing vacation before the trial at the end of the month. So Ghost Woman actually hitches a ride back to the house because she doesn't want to lose any more time. She finds the ghost of the groundskeeper and asks him about losing time when you teleport. And he says, you may not get there in good time, but you get there at the right time. Not that I've ever teleported off these grounds, so I don't know shit. So we cut back to the doppelganger and the husband, and they're in a cottage on vacation. They've got the baby with them. Her plan is murder the baby, make it look like crib death, kill herself, make it look like the guy did it, because of course she's undead, so she can make it look like she's dead. You have all this hanging over his head before the trial, and of course the trial's at the end of the month when it's a full moon again, and whether or not he's found innocent or guilty, the werewolves are going to eat him. So the doppelganger reaches into the crib, basically to hold down the baby and suffocate it, and a fist comes through the baby, punches the doppelganger in the face. Ghost Woman has teleported, and there has been a time loss, but she did arrive at just the right time. So Ghost Woman can actually touch magical things, so she's just beating on this doppelganger. But also when she's emotional, she gains solidity, so she is able to grab a knife and she slashes at the doppelganger. The turtleneck is ripped, revealing these grotesque stitches that are holding the head on the body, and she slashes at those stitches and the head rolls off, screaming obscenities. Meanwhile, at first, the guy can't see Ghost Woman. He can only see the flailing of his wife. But once Ghost Woman starts slashing, she is solid, essentially, and so the blood splatter ends up on her. So this sort of semi-blood covered outline writes in blood on the wall, silver, and the dude's like, oh, I get it. I got it now. I get it. So he rushes down the street to a pawn shop and says, do you have anything sharp and silver? He comes back with a dip knife, stabs the head as many times as he possibly can. But Ghost Woman, the outline with the blood splatter, is standing there. And she writes, not in blood, but with a pen. I love you. This is the one desire I had, to reunite you with your daughter. Know that the werewolves will be after you. And now I must move on because my mission is complete. And she kisses him on the chin, leaving a little blood splatter lip mark. And then the blood sort of splashes to the floor because she's gone. And he now lives a life of a single parent and werewolf hunter. But he doesn't go back for his trial. He waits for the full moon so that the town can be overrun by werewolves, so that he has proof that there are actually werewolves. The end. So thank you to Nighttiger. Thank you for this contest. I'll have your link in the description and at the end of the video. And I actually went ahead with another story because I missed the line where the daughter's a baby. I thought that I could make the daughter like a 17-year-old. And that would be filled with hijinks and great scenes. This one, I don't know. It was fine. I don't know. It was a little sloppy. But in my defense, I came up with it this evening. So thanks for watching.